But what about the carbon footprint? And really, is this a concern? Because basic statistics seem to bear this story out. Even aside from these headline kind of garnering sales figures that we're seeing, the average NFT really only sells for about $1,000. But behind some of this excitement lies another quieter story. NFTs have, or potentially have, a large environmental impact, one that should give artists and customers pause for concern before jumping in on the trend. And to understand this environmental impact, it's necessary to understand exactly how crypto art is created and sold. And imagine that an artist kind of digitally creates and sells a piece of art. In scenario one, she prints out that art, packages it up, ships it to a customer. But in scenario two, she sells it as an NFT using an Ethereum-based service. And if we can walk through the carbon cost of each scenario step by step, it can become quite interesting. So in scenario one, the artist lists their artwork online, and the customer will obviously purchase it. The artist prints the work and packages it up. It's then driven to their closest shipping store a few miles away. The store sends the package to its hub, where it's then sorted, and then from the hub it's then packaged off to the airport and flown along with many other packages to a main sorting facility. The package is then sorted and loaded onto another plane. That plane flies to the closest sorting facility to the customer, which can be many miles away. And then from that facility, that package is sent to a local hub where it's then sorted again and then put onto a delivery truck. So altogether, shipping a digital print to an online customer is approximately around about 2.3 kilos of carbon dioxide emissions at the various steps which we've just outlined before. And then typically driving a gasoline-powered car in the US 100 miles causes 41 kilos of CO2 emissions. And obviously this calculation is based on some very crude assumptions, but it's just purely acceptable for illustrative purposes, just to highlight a potential problem. But now let's look at the NFT. Well, the artist finds a website that will facilitate her creating the NFT, one that we've just shown before. She simply uploads her artwork, titles it, clicks on a button to create, or what they call mint it. This minting transaction is then added to a list of unconfirmed crypto transactions. This list contains all the incoming activity, from simply buying and selling to more complex actions like embedding the record of digital artwork. A miner selects a subset of transactions to block together. The transactions are then entered into or added to the master ledger one by one, and they're bundled together in groups known as blocks. And then the master ledger is known as a blockchain because it's obviously made up of these blocks. And in order to add this block to the chain, the miner must race against time and other miners who are participating to solve this cryptographic puzzle. And they use trial and error to rapidly generate random numbers, checking each one to test if it's a solution. And obviously they use top of the line hardware that can make hundreds of millions of guesses per second. And this is what kind of potentially makes crypto art environmentally unfriendly. And it's not just one miner trying to add this block to the blockchain. There are thousands of them, and many are huge operations running massive networks of computers in China or Kazakhstan or in the Arctic or elsewhere, churning away trying to find a solution to each puzzle. And obviously the miner who first produces a correct solution is the winner. Miners check if the solution is correct. The process of confirming a solution obviously is much less energy intensive than finding it in the first place. And if it's confirmed, then the miner's block of transactions is added to the blockchain. And obviously the winning miner is then paid out in cryptocurrency for their services. The artwork now exists as an NFT ready to be sold to a customer. But where it's interesting is that each subsequent transaction for this NFT can potentially follow the exact same series of events, and on average generates a huge carbon footprint. And if each, must be added to the block, the puzzle must be solved and verified. And over its life cycle, the average NFT can accrue a stunning footprint of around about 211 kilos of carbon dioxide. And that's really equivalent to driving 500 miles in a typical US petrol powered vehicle.